collapse of life as we know it, as perpetrated by the global military-industrial complex. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the host of the Ronald Show, Ronald.
What if a government intelligence analyst from the Pentagon is forced to save mankind from extinction and the world from destruction, but first he must evolve into the Messiah and create the plan to save the world? The 21st century Messiah arrives, battles dark forces, and sparks the Armageddon that leads to the apocalypse, rapture, the 2012 pole shift, and extraterrestrial contact. Buy the book today by Ronald Farnham at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. The Second Coming of the Messiah. Book 1, The Awakening.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronald Russell Farnham Show, Eradicating the Monetary System. I am here with Robert Prestwood, and I want to talk to you, Robert, about the book that you were just mentioning. What's the name of the book?
The book is by Vincent Bugliosi, ex-Los Angeles DA that wrote Helter Skelter. The name of it is The Case Against George W. Bush for Murder.
The Case Against George W. Bush for Murder. And now, who wrote the book?
Vincent Bugliosi.
And who's he?
He was a district attorney in Los Angeles for over 30 years. A very prestigious man. He was also head of the Law Review, head of the Bar Association. His character's beyond reproach. And he every murder trial he had, he was successful except for one where he found evidence that the man was innocent. So he presented that evidence and the man was cut free. But he was so outraged over Bush and Cheney's fraudulent war in Iraq that he compiled this book, which is incredibly compelling, and it's based on the law. The first half of the book goes into quite a few of the people and the horrendous death these young people had, and it talks about their individual lives. And the second half of the book, really, he outlines our laws in the United States and under our laws, federal and state, as to why Bush, Cheney, and Condoleezza Rice are guilty of murder. And in layman's terms, the way I understand it is anytime you commit a crime, especially a felony, and somebody dies as a result of that, you're guilty of murder. And so the simple truth is Bush and Cheney created a fraudulent war under false pretenses, which is a crime, and they had to know, the average person of reasonable intelligence has to know that when you start a war, that somebody can die from that. So when you commit a crime, and you should reasonably know that in committing that crime, by what you're doing, someone could die, you're guilty of murder. And it's just that simple in both federal and state law. And he outlines it very eloquently as a professional attorney that he was for so many years, as to exactly why Bush and Cheney could be charged in any municipality where one of our citizens, our U.S. citizens, died as a result of the war in Iraq.
Well, now, what's keeping people from storming the White House, grabbing a president or Bush, wherever he's living now, because he's no longer the president, and dragging him into court and making him pay for his crime? What do you think?
I think my personal opinion is that there's just no. Actually, he says in the last chapter of the book that really any district attorney in any municipality that lost one of their citizens could indict Bush and Cheney on murder charges. I think they're afraid to. I mean, just that book is, the only press it got was that it was on the New York Times bestseller list for 16 weeks. And the New York Times did an article that's the only book that's ever been on their bestseller list that never got any mass media attention.
Well, I'll tell you, people out there, spread the word about the book, spread the word about his movie. What's the name of the book again?
The Case Against George W. Bush for Murder by Vincent Bugliosi.
Vincent Bugliosi?
Yes.
All right. And if you want to, as a human being, you could file charges against George W. Bush, for murder. So think about that. Maybe I'll file a case with him. Maybe I'll just go file the paperwork.
Actually, there was just something in the news where an Iraqi citizen sued Bush in federal court in the state of California for the deaths of members in her family. And that case is it's on file now, and it hasn't been thrown out yet.
Well, that is good news. I'm going to track that. Look for that. All right, thanks for watching the Ronald Russell Farnham Show, eradicating the monetary system. And we're on our way down to Irvine because we're going to interview a
Don't put that in. Don't bring that in.
All right, we're on our way down to Irvine, and we're going to be doing some stuff down there. So anyway, talk to you later. Peace.
No, these
Sound is rolling, and action.
Chauncey, can you explain to us what is a universal stem cell?
A universal stem cell is a natural occurring cell in the body. When you're born, you have stem cells that feed your body as you go through the changes, as you go from a baby to a young adult to a teenager into adulthood, etc. The cells are constantly being used to build new tissue in the body. That's a universal stem cell.
So do you have a set amount when you're born of those stem cells?
Yes, you have a set amount of universal stem cells, and as we get older, the stem cells start to diminish because once they differentiate, they're no longer capable of turning into all the different types of cells in the body.
Now, you hear so much about embryonic stem cells. What's the difference between an embryonic stem cell and a universal stem cell?
An embryonic stem cell is a stem cell gotten from an embryo in 150 to 200 cell phase. A universal stem cell is something that's in the body that feeds the body naturally and responds to the local tissues.
Okay, what makes your research different from, let's say, embryonic stem cell research?
Well, first of all, this cell is retrieved from your own body with your own DNA.
Start that over and say the research that we're doing here is different because.
Okay, the research that we're doing here is different because we use a cell that has your exact DNA. So the body does not look at as it being a foreign cell. It looks at it as being part of the own. I'm sorry, it's fluffy.
That's good. Now just start it over and say that again. There you go. Okay, we're rolling. Sound is rolling, and action.
So this research that you do is not embryonic stem cell research, is that correct?
That is correct. We use a cell that's retrieved from the individual's own body, a cell that has their exact DNA template. Embryonic stem cell is retrieved from another individual when they're in an embryonic state.
So you don't use embryos when you do your research, I take it?
That is correct.
Okay, rephrase that. So we don't use embryos in our research, and just restate.
And the reason why?
Here we don't use embryos in our research because embryos are problematic. When you use DNA from another source, the body looks at it as alien protein. Well, I got it. Sorry.
And action.
Yes, we don't use embryonic stem cells because embryonic stem cells have HLA proteins on the surface that when they're not matching the host, the immune system attacks them. So we use our own cells, and the immune system does not attack our own cells.
Now, when you fully develop the universal stem cell, what kind of a benefit will that be to the patient?
When the universal stem cell is fully developed, actually what we're doing is we're getting a cell called a monopolar cell from the reproductive tract. This monopolar cell doesn't age because it's responsible for making the next generation, the offspring. If it did age, when someone 20 years old produced a child, that child would lose 20 years. And then when that child had another offspring at 20, the cumulative effect would be 40 years. 5 generations down the line, there'd be no life. So the only cell in the body that doesn't age are the reproductive cells. And
Now, how will this benefit the patient? I mean, what's this going to do health-wise for them once this universal stem cell is out on the market?
We start that with the question, this is going to benefit, this type of thing is going to benefit because?
this cell, once we turn it into a universal stem cell, will benefit the patient because the body already, nature already has a mechanism to.
Okay, go ahead and say that again.
Once your universal stem cell is developed and on the market, what is it going to do specifically for the patient?
Well, the universal stem cell is already present in the body. That's the only reason why we have trillions of cells, because if a cell is differentiated, then it only can divide 50 to 120 times. That's the Hayflick constant. So we would be very small if we weren't fed by the universal stem cell. This cell, we're taking a monopolar cell meant for reproduction, and we're taking that cell, and instead of allowing it to produce or reproduce ourselves once it goes through meiosis, we're short-circuiting nature and putting that cell back in us.
So what you're saying is that you're going to give us back more of the stem cells that we were born with?
That's exactly it. Over time, these stem cells, even though they're in the bone marrow, start to differentiate. It's kind of like a man hiding behind a wall. If you have a bunch of men hiding behind a wall and someone's shooting at it, when someone looks up, someone's eventually going to get hit, and you'll have less and less men there. The body has a lot of activity and a lot of forces of differentiation. That's why we have cells that are brain cells, eye cells, skin cells. So these undifferentiated universal stem cells finally succumb. Even though they're behind the wall of the bone, they finally succumb to all the differentiational forces of the body.
So basically then this universal stem cell will be added back to your system once your supply runs out?
Yes, because we're taking the reproductive cell that nature wants us to pass on to the next generation, and we're bringing that back into our own body. Now, naturally, we can't use the reproductive cell directly. We have to reprogram it for our own body. But once we take it from the somatics, once we take the SSC out of the seminiferous tubules of the reproductive tract, that SSC has our own DNA. It's completely pristine. The telomeres are completely wound. The telomerase is on full volume, and you have a brand new healthy cell capable of making an entirely new individual.
Well, if you could explain it to me simply, how are you going to create that universal stem cell from somebody's DNA?
And start that with, so we are going to create this universal stem cell from someone's DNA by.
Yeah, so we're going to recreate the universal stem cell by using messenger RNA, so it'll be processed in the ribosome to produce pluripotent proteins.
And that's what's going to create the universal stem cell.
Well, could I just stop for...
Okay, camera is rolling and action.
This almost sounds unbelievable. How sure are you that you'll be able to create this universal stem cell?
We have taken this unaged cell in the body that's responsible for reproduction, and we've changed it into beating heart cells and neural material. All we have to do is take it and take that technology that we already have and change it into a universal stem cell, which is naturally occurring in the body already. So I'm quite confident that we're capable of that if we get going fast enough.
So then you're just duplicating something that's already happening in nature there.
Thank God we are just duplicating something that's already happening in nature. And as I like to say, if nature does it, it can be done because nature has already done it. We just have to manipulate it like man has done always in his scientific endeavors. All the cells of the body have the same blueprint, the same DNA. The only thing that makes a skin cell, an eye cell, or a brain cell, is what area of that DNA is transcribed to produce the protein for an eye cell, or produce the protein for a skin, or a brain cell. With that in mind, we take a cell that has our own DNA, it's in the reproductive tract. This cell does not age. It's the only cell in the body that doesn't age. It has undamaged DNA, fully wound telomeres, and upregulated telomerase. The reason why this reproductive cell doesn't age is that if it did, no life would exist on Earth. If it aged along with the animal that reproduced, and we'll use a human in this case, let's say they reproduced at 20. Well, then that cell would lose 20 years the first generation.
Don't move in your chair.
Then, when that next generation reproduced, let's say at 20, it would lose another 20 years. 5 generations down the line, you'd have a child effectively 100 years old. So these reproductive cells cannot age even one day. Man has been around for millions of years. Multicellular life has been around for over 600 million years, and we're all descended from the original life. If in the reproductive process any of these cells lost a day, none of us would be here. So this is the source of cells that we use. We can take these cells, since they have the exact genetic complement of all the other cells in the body, and we can change them into a universal stem cell that will go, once we place it in the bone marrow, it'll circulate through the entire body, and then it will respond to the local parenchyme secretions of that tissue and turn and replace the old dying damaged cells with this brand new universal stem cell that then differentiates into the appropriate tissue.
How does a universal stem cell know where to go and what to repair?
A universal stem cell is already existing in your body. Universal stem cell is in the bone marrow, and just like the defense cells, when you have an infection, your immune system through cytokines guides those protective cells to the site of the infection. The universal stem cell is part of the immune system. Just as the immune system sends the cells for defense, the immune system also sends cells to repair the body. You do not repair your body at the site. Cut doesn't automatically start to divide cells very quickly and you heal. It's actually taken from the immune system to repair that area. The universal stem cells are carried through the blood.
So if I understand this correctly, then I have universal stem cells in my bone marrow, and if my heart is damaged or my leg is damaged, the immune system tells them where to go and what to repair?
The immune system does all kinds of things. If you have a certain kind of damage, it'll trigger prostaglandins to cause swelling to allow cells to come in to heal it. It'll send cells to defend the body if there's an area where there's an infection. If there's an area where there's an injury, it'll send repair cells. As a matter of fact, there's a cell in the immune system that once it goes out, it's very stemish. It can turn into 7 different types of immune cells. When it finally finds out what the infection is, that's when it decides what type of immune cell it will differentiate into.
Why is it then when somebody's young, an injury heals very quickly, and when they're older, it heals much more slowly?
Okay, what eventually kills us is the fact that we keep on differentiating. Scientists have done studies of the DNA and they realize that there's not enough damage to account for aging. But aging occurs because there's no brakes on differentiation. When you start out as an embryo, the cells start to differentiate into 3 different types of cells. Then there's more differentiation until finally you're born as a child and you have skin, you have brain, you have eyes. As what you call biological aging happens, they're just differing from one another more and more and more. That's the stages of being a child, being a teenager, being a young adult. It's on the cellular level, but you see it on the macro level when you see an individual. Unfortunately, there is no break on this differentiation. It continues to differentiate until the cells are no longer useful to each other, because we're a multicellular colonies. That's what our body is. And no longer of any use to themselves. They don't make the proper proteins. And the proper proteins, such as telomerase, to keep the telomeres wound, then you start losing telomeres and the DNA starts to unravel. You start losing enzymes, so you can't have biological functioning in your cells. And eventually, you just mutate and die. It's like a bar of metal. The metal atoms aren't being destroyed, but they're being oxidized, they're mutating. So that's what you call getting old, because it's changing. Well, we keep on changing. There's no breaks on differentiation, and then finally, the cells can no longer function as a biological unit.
Once the universal stem cells fully develop, what kinds of diseases and issues is it going to solve?
What happens as we go from childhood, well, let's say from a newborn child, and from that period to the early 30s, everything is functioning the best it can function. You're in your prime. We start to lose that functionality because these stem cells that continue to replace tissue in our body start to differentiate because of the strong differentiational forces. And once they start to differentiate, then you have less of them and less quality. So when they go out to repair, they repair imperfectly and they don't repair as much. If you're a fetus with lots of these universal stem cells, you can actually be operated on and they will not see any site of injury. They will see no scarring, nothing. And as a young child, you can lose part of your thumb, it'll regenerate. That's because you have universal stem cells in your bone marrow that have not been altered over the powerful differentiational forces that we have in our body over time. You have absolutely functional universal stem cells.
Once you have the universal stem cell made with a patient's DNA, how are you going to get that back into their bone marrow?
It's really quite simple. There's peptidoglucans on the outer layer of the cell. Those peptidoglucans simply mean sugar molecules with protein molecules, and they happen to connect to other cells that have a similar peptidoglucan chains. Just the way they do with bone marrow transplants. You can slowly drip these cells into the body, and they will take up house, as they say, in the bone marrow, just as bone marrow does when they are replacing bone marrow in leukemia patients.
So let me see if I understand how this is going to work. You're going to take my DNA and you're going to make a universal stem cell with my DNA, and then you're going to grow that in the laboratory and put it back into my bone marrow? Is that how it's going to work?
Pretty much that's the case. It's not quite that simple, because we're taking a cell that's meant to go to the next generation and start a new life. Instead of taking that cell and allowing it to produce a gamete to start a new life, we get it when it still has your DNA, and then we change that cell from a monopolar cell, that's meaning that's going to turn into a sperm, into a pluripotent cell that can turn into any type of cell in the body. And then we place that, we sort of place more cells in the fountain, so to speak, so they can go out and replenish the body. And they're starting all over again. The differentiational forces have not affected these cells.
Well, it sounds like you already know how to do it. How can I get some of these stem cells?
Well, we already know how to do it, but knowing how to do something and then accomplishing it are two different things. Knowing how to do something is intellectually knowing how to do it. Accomplishing it means you need a lot of resources in some cases, and this is one of those cases. It's a superordinate goal that requires teams of scientists and lots of advanced scientific equipment.
So it kind of sounds like you have a map on how to get to New York from Los Angeles, but it's another thing to travel the road to get there. Is that a good analogy?
Exactly. We need plenty of gas and a really nice car to get there. Our source of cells are found in the reproductive area. This area is a place where the cells don't age, the only area where cells don't age. They're responsible for making the next generation. It's essentially the seat of immortality for an animal. An animal can continue to reproduce on and on indefinitely.
All right, we're rolling.
Sound is rolling.
Okay, here we go. And action.
The best way to describe this cell and why it doesn't age is simple. When a man and a woman have a child, that child starts out with brand new cells, time zero cells for an entire lifetime, for them to live an entire lifetime. So, that being the case, those cells are donated by the male and the female. So these cells don't come from the sky, they have to come from the male and the female. So somewhere in their bodies they must produce a cell that starts out initially with no age to it, and that is from the reproductive tract. That cell then produces gametes normally that remodel the DNA. It's called crossover. They take complements from the mother's set of chromosomes and the father's set of chromosomes, and they take segments and remix it to make a new individual. We get the cell before it remixes the DNA. We get this cell out of the reproductive tract when it still has your exact DNA information. And this cell, being that it can create a brand new life from time zero, this cell is unaged, undamaged with your own DNA. We take this cell, and it normally is what we call a monopolar cell. A monopolar cell simply differentiates in one direction. It's meant in nature to produce a sperm that then matches the female's egg. We change the direction because Mother Nature wants you to reproduce or make another copy of yourself, but not an exact copy. Because nature in the beginning, the forces were always changing. The temperatures were changing, the environment was changing, new predators came, so it had to keep on supplying different individuals, not exact replicas. And that's actually how we evolved, because each time there was something different, a different challenge producing a different animal. But now, since man has controlled the environment, he's controlled his predatory situation, he's controlled his environmental state, he now has a way potentially to circumvent Mother Nature passing on this immortal seed. Instead, he can take that immortal seed and transplant it in his own body. If he changed it from a monopolar cell to a pluripotent cell and places it in his bone marrow. The bone marrow is what we call the immune system. It's also the area that sends out from the immune system cells for defense and for repair. Once we place these cells back in the bone marrow, the natural system that exists, and once we turn them into somatic stem cells, that means stem cells that, somatic means body in Greek, soma, body. Once we take these cells and change them into pluripotent universal stem cells that respond in the body, then these cells go out and they make a precursor stem cell that then turns into whatever type that local tissue is composed of. The universal stem cell goes from the universal stem cell to a precursor stem cell in whatever tissue it lands in, and then finally differentiates into specific tissue of that section of the body.
I understand you've been able to create a beating heart. And how is that done?
Well, we created myocardiocytes. We created cells that are used for contractile purposes in the heart. These are individual cells. They're not anatomically as a heart is. A heart's a big aggregate of these cells and different neurons, etc. But we did create the functional beating cell in the muscular tissue of the heart. We took the SSC and we used different proteins to change this cellular machinery to transcribe proteins for the heart. Since all the cells of the body have the same genetic information, every cell has all the information necessary to make any other cell. We were able to do that. However, this is accomplished by transcribing certain sections of DNA to produce certain proteins for that cell, be it a heart cell, a skin cell, a brain cell.
Action.
For those of you that are not in the biological field, proteins are essentially the machinery of the cell. What we do here to change one cell type to another is take messenger RNA and place that in the cell using our own methods, proprietary methods. This RNA is then processed through the ribosomes to make a protein that changes the way the cell transcribes other proteins. So once we do that, we can make that cell produce a heart cell or a brain cell or any other cell if we take and place the proper messenger RNAs in the cell. They will remodel what areas of the DNA will be expressed and produce that particular type of cell.
Can you tell us a little bit about the patents that you've, the things that you've patented in your progress toward a universal stem cell?
Well, I've had around 14 to 15 patents. The reason why it's important to use cells with your own DNA is that DNA produces surface proteins that the immune system recognizes to direct those cells for repair or defense. And if you use embryonic stem cells, the only thing it does, unless it's perfectly matched, is cause the immune system to attack that cell as a foreign body, much as it would a virus that doesn't belong in the body. We are using our own cells, so our immune system recognizes those cells as self, and then can harness and direct those cells to repair the body.
How far along are you on your research? How long have you been working on this? And how much more do you have to go? What percentage would you say you're done with everything to where you're going to have what you need?
We've gone through quite a bit. We've proven the premise that these cells can be changed into any kind of cell in the body. What we need to do, however, is change these cells into the same type of cell that's found in the bone marrow that can circulate through the body, and then once it is in a specific tissue, change into that type of tissue. That is a universal stem cell. We need to change it not just in vitro, where we change it specifically into one type of cell, but change it into a cell that can refresh the universal stem cells that are lost over time and rebuild the body that way.
How close are you to doing that?
If we get enough funding, it's just a matter of a couple of years before we're able to take these stem cells that we've changed in vitro. That means in vitro is a term meaning in the glass. That's a Latin term, to where we can take these cells and in situ, that's another Latin word meaning in where they belong in the body, we'll be able to change these cells into a universal stem cell in a couple of years.
Give me a percentage of how far along you are, how much money you need, how many scientists you need, what it's going to take. Just kind of a ramble.
Technically, we're about 60% of the way to the destination. However, the other 40% requires a tremendous amount of resources. because we have to change this monopolar cell that normally is passed on to the next generation into a universal stem cell that we can place in our own body, and these cells would then spread through the entire body, much like happens if a bad cell gets in. If you get cancer in the bone marrow, it'll go throughout the entire body and you'll pass away in a matter of 4 to 5 months usually. If you get a good healthy cell with your own DNA like this, it would spread through the entire body, and instead of passing away, obviously, it would replace the cells with good healthy stem cells.
Have you ever wanted to write a book? Have you ever wanted to write a screenplay? Have you ever wanted to have your great movie idea turned into a screenplay, turned into a movie, turned into a book, and distributed all over the world? Well, now you can learn how to do it with the great new book by Ronald, How to Write a Screenplay in 30 Days or Less. It includes the logline, theme, synopsis, outline, and screenplay of the 3 magic questions. Learn how to write a screenplay in 30 days or less, or your money back. Get it today at Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Stogies Baseball. I am here with our starting pitcher. Today's May 17th, 2014. It's going to be game 2 of our season, and we're playing against the Pirates. And this is Longo. Longo Garcia?
Yes, sir.
So, tell me, you played for the USA baseball team, huh?
Years ago. Years ago. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Pitcher?
Glory days, yes, glory days.
He told me he got to go down to Cuba for a week and meet Fidel Castro. What was that dude like?
He's a big motherfucker. He's a big guy. Excuse my language. He's a big guy.
Big guy?
Yeah, pretty intimidating presence, yes.
Pretty intimidating presence. How you feeling today? You're going to start the game, I think.
Great. I'm glad to be back. Thanks for having me. And hopefully I want to embarrass myself.
All right. So I'm going to let him get in his zone. We're getting ready to start the game. And thanks for the interview, Longo.
Welcome. Thank you.
All right. I'm seeing a little bit with some action from Stogies Baseball. All right. Welcome back. Hey, Omar. Are you ready for the game today or what?
Yes, sir.
Yeah? We going to win? Who we playing? Today's game 2.
I don't know. Pirates.
What'd you think of last week's game?
Okay. I won't throw any knuckleballs. A little cut or 2, 4. I come sidearm too, alright? So I'm a fast one.
1 pass, 2 clear, 3 saves, and
4 cuts.
You ready for the game this week?
oh yeah.
Man, last week you made that spectacular play to finish the game, that backhanded play going downhill.
Man, I've been reading books, you know. I want to write a book pretty soon.
Oh yeah? What kind of book?
I don't know.
On baseball?
Yeah, baseball.
How to make the play?
How to get your mojo.
Mojo? Call it Making the Play?
Making the play.
How to get your mojo? That's a good book.
You gonna read it?
Hell yeah, I'll read it. I'll read your book if you read my book.
Which ones? You got like 20 of them.
I got 3, but the best one is the sequel to the Bible that I wrote, called The Second Coming of the Messiah. Yeah, that's a good one.
I'll read it.
All right, man. Well, you have a good game today. I'm going to catch you up at bat and in the field. Hope you make some more star plays. Because that one's going up, should be up by the time tomorrow morning rolls around, the YouTube video. Yeah. So you going to play on the field today or what?
That's the plan.
What position, first base? What's up, kid? You ready to play some ball today?
Ready. Arms all over the place.
What position you going to play, Omar?
I want to take your spot.
All right, man. We need another Atlanta pitcher.
Designated hitter.
Designated hitter, nice. Right. Oh yeah, you got the first base mitt. Hey, what's that hat? Is that your sushi bar? Is that Viches? How do you say it?
Ceviche Sushi Bar, baby.
Cool. Where is it located?
Silmar, California, 14117 Hubbard Street.
Oh, nice. Can I come down there and get some sushi? Can I get a discount?
Sure.
I'll pay, but I mean, you know.
Always get 20% off.
Oh, no way. All right, cool. Do you take EBT? I'm just kidding. All right, have a good game. Facebook has a Stogies group page, so you can go to Stogies group page and watch the game. I got you up at bat. I'm gonna get it today too. What's your name? Tell the world.
Danny Rizzo.
Danny Rizzo? Were you in Jerky Boys back in the 80s? Dang, scared me. All right, kid. Have a good game, Danny. You making a lineup up?
Yeah.
We got enough people?
Yeah.
Fidel, where you playing today?
I have no idea.
BB's making the lineup.
The boss is right there.
Just act natural.
He's the manager. He's gonna be or you're gonna be? He's gonna be the manager. So, you're the manager, or you're just
I'm just videoing the game.
You're videoing. Okay, the video man.
Yeah.
I didn't give you consent.
Russo!
Okay.
You're the manager.
Yeah, if you don't want to be on camera, no problem. A lot of people don't.
He's already as America's Most Wanted.
I know, right?
It is. Really, you feeling?
Yeah. I'm just videoing the batters and pitching.
You know what I mean? The Greekster, he's a fucking Greekster. Wherever the fucking give him more confidence. Get that shit on record. Not yet. Gotta work on that. We need him. Come on. What? That's still a Sunday guy, brother. Come on. They said they made that 36-year rule for you, though, so you can pitch. No? Right here. Sit down! Oh, hey, come on, baby!
We'll take that all day.
Sound different. Sound different. Right here. Here we go.
Right here.
Come on.
Baby! That's
Hold on.
Hit it hard, Danny.
Drop it, Andrew. Drop it.
Getting tired, throw it over, come on.
All right, 1-0, bottom of first. Now the Pirates are gonna bat. Here we go. Let's watch the Longo pitch, huh? Yeah, selfie video. Oh, Mar, nice play, kid.
Go three.
Hey, Longo, roll the pair now right here, kid. Hey, double play. Ground balls. Those are just ground balls. Keep doing what you're doing.
The win! Hey, go! Down the yard, Bill! Down the yard!
Come on, Billy. Get him in there.
Yeah, good down.
Two. Only in the street.
Good eye!
Count. Bounce it. There you go.
Good job out there, Longo.
Thanks, buddy. 2 years. 2 years in the
Freddie
making.
Rich Jaime! Freddie Rich Jaime!
You're in the Hubbard.
One point. Look two. Look two.
Round, good round.
Hey, hero.
Hey, good delay, bro. Good delay.
Woo! All right. This pitch looks outside, and this umpire was having a bad day. He made a lot of questionable calls. I think this is outside. What do you think?
One, sorry.
Hey, let's go, Blue.
Good shit.
The ball's outside. The ball's outside. I see it. You're a mess.
I'm going to get beat up on our goal. What have we shut down?
Oh, you gotta get it.
Cover that. Good, you're good, nobody.
Come on, Heath. Come on.
It looks like they're going to make a pitching change. Still the top of the second. We got one down. And the score, I think, is now 5-1. I think we've scored 4 runs in this inning. So they're talking about it.
the human race will die.
Oh, really?
The first commandment is to maintain a global population under 500 million. Do you know what that means? It means 6.5 billion people are going to die at the hands of the Illuminati unless we stop the Iranians from detonating that dirty nuclear bomb at the Hollywood and Vine train station. The Iranian suicide bomber cell is located at the Vibe Hotel on Hollywood Boulevard.
This isn't Scooby-Doo.
Little blood drinking turned your stomach?
Guide them to the bomb. What is this? Fucking Batman and Robin?
I had become part of something that I no longer felt right about serving.
It's Hollywood and Vine, not Vine Hollywood. Don't you know anything about American culture? You silly Russian.
The global military-industrial complex.
Leading the charge of the carnal feminine.
Ah, yes. The Messiah.
My book is the solution.
How is that the way the world is?
Traitor, who are you working for?
If I was cartoon character, I'd be Woody Woodpecker.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From the Gulf Stream waters to the New York Island, this land was made for you and me.
Into the top of the second. Now we go into the bottom of the second and see how Longo pitches. One down, bottom of the second inning. 1 ball, no strikes.
Hey, that boy! Hey, what are you young guy had to hear right here? Let's go. Hey, pitch runner. Hey, good eye. You're good, you're good. That boy, Coco!
Oh, come on. Strike 3!
2 down. 2 down, bottom of the second inning.
Get up, get up!
Alright, that's the end of the second inning. Stogies coming up to bat. Going into the top of the third. First batter.
1. Oh, look, Danny.
One out, runner on first. Top of the third.
Drop it, drop it.
Alright, they're making a pitching change. Top of the third, 1 out, bases loaded. Got a sidewinder coming in. One down, top of the third, bases loaded. 6-0 Stogies. New pitcher.
Let it, hold it.
7-0. 2 down, top of third. Bases loaded. Oh, man on first and second. Alright. Going into the bottom of the third. Stogies are up 7-0. Longo's pitching a good game. What's the score, kid?
Stogies 7, Pirates 0. We're heading to the bottom of the third.
Alright. You want me to get loose?
I want you focused.
Yeah, I'm gonna get loose now. I'm gonna go stretch out and throw. Hey, what score? What inning are we in?
It's the bottom of the fourth. Stogies 7, Pirates 0.
Just 7? We don't have 8?
No, we have 7.
7-0.
Miscalculation.
All right. Hey, let's go D. Roll pair now, right here. Turn it. Hey, good throw, Fidel. 7-1. Two down. Got the wind working in our favor.
Go, 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 go! Up, up, up! Good boy! Have that ball!
Nobody out. It's top of the 5th inning, right? What is it, 7-1? Hey, what's the score? 7-1?
7-1.
What are we, top of the 5th?
Top of the 5th.
One, nobody out?
It is no outs. First and second.
All right.
First and third.
First and third, nobody out. Top of the 5th. Threatening to score some more runs here. Hey, second base is open now. You gotta keep us out of a double play right here. How many outs, Blue? 1? Nobody out now. He should have gone to second on that. That's dropping. That's dropping.
Cut off! Cut it off! No, 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 no!
Boy, what's up, kid?
Farnham.
How you doing, bro? Good to see you, man. Welcome back to the camera. Ooh, that hit him. How you doing, Roy?
Good, good.
You playing or what?
Yeah.
Playing any music lately?
Yes, sir.
That's Roy Alonzo from Cypress Hill. There we go. That definitely hit him. Well, it looked like he was gonna, but he's not throwing hard enough for it to really hurt. So yeah, see, that's what I just said. But jogging out a quarter of the way helps. So what's up, kid? How you been, man? You look good. You look good. Can I interview you? So what's going on music-wise?
Producing my band called Power Flow. Sendog from Cyprus is the singer.
Oh, really? Nice, nice.
Should come down.
When? To the Troubadour?
Tomorrow. No. Recording.
Oh, tomorrow. What time?
In North Hollywood, your neck of the woods.
What time?
I'll be there at 7.
7 p.m. Ooh. I can't. I got to be at Pepperdine by 10 p.m.
I'm on Facebook. Let me say hi to everybody.
Okay, cool, bro. All right, let's listen to Power Flow. All right, new band. Oh, that's Roy Lozano's new band, Power Flow. All right, now back to the baseball game. Got BB on deck now, coming into the game here. He's gonna get some cuts. On deck, BB, yeah. There we go. Good swing right there. All right, let's get the action at the plate. Hollywood, all kinds of people come out here and play baseball. Stars, criminals, you name it. We need a base hit right here. Bases loaded. There's a base hit right there. Oh, he missed it. That's going to score a couple. He's still running. It's going to be a triple. And that's going to clear the bases. Safe. Third. And that's a bases clearing triple. Still one down. In my 10-run rule. Here comes BB at the plate. That's gonna. And at the end of the game, I'm gonna go pitch. All right, there I am on the mound, warming up to pitch. And I use a few different arm angles. I throw over the top, sidearm, and submarine. Alright, so as you know, this is taking place in 2014, this baseball game is, but I am editing it here in August of 2025, so 12 years later. And I'm looking at my mechanics, and I am seeing that I'm not getting my front hip closed enough, and I'm going to be playing in a baseball tournament coming up here. So I play for the Americans Baseball Club, as you probably know, and I will be, there's a ground ball, short stomp, nice, there's an out. I'll be playing in the Roy Holmes World Series in Fort Myers, and I'm also umpiring. So since this video and up to now, over the past maybe 5 or 6 years, from like 2018 or 2019 to 2025, I started getting into umpiring baseball. So I still play, but I also umpire. I just know the game so well that there's a sidearm, submarine kind of a fastball. I use all different arm angles, as you can tell. That's over the top. And around this time, I'm probably pitching around 80 miles an hour, maybe high 70s, pretty hard. I had a lot of good success out here in the Valley in Los Angeles, which I am very likely going to be moving back to Los Angeles soon. So I'll be picking up the Ronald show even more back in Los Angeles. But as you're going to see over the next 100 episodes of this show, I got divorced from Jasmine in Florida. She didn't want to move to Los Angeles. And then you'll see coming up here, I wound up getting married again to Tracy. And we were married for about 5 years, and you'll see our adventures as we traveled across the United States. First going to Los Angeles after we got married in Vegas, and I'm going to put up the Vegas marriage. There's a base hit down the corner. I'll put up the Vegas marriage ceremony with Elvis and all that stuff. But it was good times. Tracy's doing good, but we're divorced now. And then I lived with a girl named Cheryl for a couple of years, and you'll see some of that video of her or of me living there. But anyway, I did a good job pitching out in the Valley. I used to get paid around $40 a game. Here I am going to talk to the catcher because we got to get our signals straight. That's what we got to do. What inning are we in?
Top of the 6th.
Top of the 6th? What's the score?
12-1 Stogies.
12-1 Stogies. All right.
Get out there. How you feeling? Third inning of work?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Get out there.
I feel good.
Let's go.
All right, here I am back out on the mound again, warming up to start the next inning. And let me tell you, so it's April or May 2014 here. And just around 2015, I finished editing
the movie Hollywood and Vine. I'm sure you've seen the trailer on this show a bunch of times. I put my trailer to my books and my movies on here. I have other trailers that I haven't made yet that I gotta make, that I gotta start putting into the show. But I am pretty close to finishing up Hollywood and Vine at this point, and as you'll see at the end of this episode, I actually moved out of the house in Van Nuys because Heather Durkin, the lady who I was renting a room from in her house, she just didn't like all the activity I was bringing over there with filming the movie. I had production meetings, rehearsals, filming scenes, and I guess she just, I didn't know it at the time when I moved in, but she had a head injury, so she was a little bit dizzy in the brain, so I wound up moving to downtown Los Angeles. I went to the VA and told them I was homeless, and I was for about a day or so. I was living on the bus. And they put me into some nice apartments called Ballington Apartments in downtown LA, right in the middle of Skid Row. And I lived there for about 7 months. But as you'll see coming up in the next few episodes, my roommate, Joseph Cooper, he was a Satanist, practicing Satanist for about 30 years. Then he became a born-again Christian. And I interviewed him about Satan worshiping and all of the different satanic alphanumeric coding that the Illuminati use, hidden in plain sight, that the regular people, the everyday person, doesn't know about. So you're going to see several hours of episodes of me interviewing him about the Illuminati and Satanism. It's interesting stuff.
It's a shot. Nice play. Olé. Wow. Scorcher, and he got that one. How many outs? One out? One down? Which one? When you pulled it to shortstop? Yeah, slider. Sidearm slider. I saw it move too right at the last second, and you were on it, and then it got right up in the middle of the bat, and you hit it right to the shortstop. You were the second batter, right?
First one.
Oh, the first. Yeah, same thing. Same thing. And
fastball tails away.
Yeah, right down on the outside. Did it look like it had any velocity?
Yeah. First one, the first one threw, yeah.
Cool.
Just the second one, and the swing is too offside.
Oh yeah, you flung your bat at it. I know. Because it's, you know why he's calling the outside play. So he's putting you in a position where you got to protect the outside play. And me, that works in my favor.
They were kind of high. The second, no, the one that swung was kind of high.
Yeah. The one you hit out of play? Yeah, that was out. That was a ball. That was high and outside. I was surprised you swung at it because you guys are a good hitting team. Well, you know what, dude? It's not. I mean, you're putting the ball in play. Everybody's putting the ball in play. The wind, you know, your guys had some shots that would have been deep shots, but you got like a 30-mile-an-hour wind blowing in your face. So how about that? I threw a fastball that tailed into the lefty, and he yanked it. Made me feel like I got no velocity. What inning we in, Juan?
Right now, top of the 7th, sir.
All right, what's the score?
12-1, Stogies.
12-1 Stogies. How many outs?
Nobody out.
All right.
Keep it.
See what happens. Drugs are bad, okay? Do not umpire a game and do drugs. Or do not do drugs and then try umpire a game.
dropped that 3-1, he fought it off.
What was the last pitch he fought?
What you call the last one?
Hey, that's the one. It's the ball. It hit him.
No wonder the umpire doesn't like to get on camera.
Hey, Blue, take up your gear. I'll be the umpire. Hey, Blue. Hey, what you call the previous pitch before that? No!
Come on, man, you gotta get this shit together, baby.
You fight my son? That hit him?
He did, boo. Oh, shit.
How the fuck you call a ball and a hit pitch?
Wow. Controversy, there's always controversy. There's a rope.
Hey, you got on 3! Go, hold it! In the game ball. We bring that ball in. Throw the ball in. Where's it going? You good, boxer? Out! Let's go!
Oh!
Sorry, ass Hey, come on, why are you gonna be there? Why? Let's go! Let's go! Hey, bye! Oh! That boy went up!
That dude would have had that.
Yeah. Blue! Come on, Blue!
Hey, sorry about that, man.
How you doing?
Hey, we're good. Again. All right. Yeah, kid. Go, guys. Again, Brett. Yep, I'm bet. Well, yeah, I know. It's not like he didn't fuck up a bunch of balls today. I get one wrong.
We expect that from him, not from me.
All right, what was the score? Final score? Stogies win game 2 of the season, like a lot to 1. I think, what was it, 13? All right, thanks for watching.
Yeah, peace.
And Barnes & Noble is Harry Johnson, Diary of a Gigolo Porn Star. The crazy adventure of a 1951-born male in Beaufort, Georgia with a 2-foot penis that grows to 3 feet. He goes on to become an international porn star after becoming a war hero in Vietnam. Get it today at Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
And we're test. This is my new place. Moving in to Skid Row apartment, but it's actually an oasis of beauty.